Welcome to Shad Life. Today I'm going to talk about jumping. Um, it's not going to be like extreme crazy airtime or anything, but we're going to work on this jump. And as you can see, this jump is, I'd say if I want to land on the true downside, about a bike length and a half, right? Because I want to land here. I don't want to land up there. But for starters, we're just going to land on the top, right? So a couple of prerequisites before you start jumping. First of all, you want to be really comfortable standing and riding your bike. And that means drop her down. If you don't have a dropper, lower the seat for this. And then be standing on the pedals. Find out which is your preferred foot forward, right or left, right? And then from there, you just want to be super comfortable riding around, standing, coasting, all of that stuff on pretty much all of the trails. If you're not comfortable just doing that, you don't want to start jumping yet, right? And the second thing that would be really helpful is if you know how to bunny hop. And bunny hop, I mean hop with the front wheel first and the rear wheel second. Why is that important? Well, because when you're going up the lip of a jump, right, your front wheel gets there first. And you're essentially learning to jump. You're essentially going to bunny hop off the lip. And so as you get here, if you did both wheels at the same time, you're going to pick both wheels up and go into the air. And your back wheel is not going to get the benefits of the full transition. And you want that to happen. So you want to know how to do a proper pull up the front end, right? And then have the back end come up. And to do that, to do a proper launch off a jump, proper bunny hop or whatever, is when you're going through here, you start out in a little bit of a crouch, and then right through here, you start pushing down with your legs, pushing into the jump with your legs. And as you do that, you pull back or up with your handlebar, with your arms, and your front wheel comes off. You're still pushing into the lip. And then you get that boost right here that gets you into the air. And then here the bike will naturally want to kind of nosedive. It might go through like this, but to control the bike, pitch control, you absorb with your legs, push forward with your arms, and that'll pitch the front end down to land here. We're not going to go for the landing right away. We're going to go back just to this jump right before this and do a couple slow runs, because that's how you learn. You start off slow with a tabletop like this and just worry about landing on the top. All we want to do is learn how to get air off of the lip. That's it. So here's where you start to check all these things out, right? When you go slow off the lip, you want to make sure of a few things. One, when you come off, you want to make sure you're coming off and out through the whole lip. How you'll tell if you're not is you'll generally kind of come and land front wheel first. And if you're kind of getting what I like to call bucked and landing front wheel first, that means you're either hopping too early or you're not pushing down strong enough with your legs throughout the transition, and you're not pulling with your arms as you come off, because you should be leveled off in the air and come down. If you find yourself nose diving then you got to keep practicing till you get comfortable coming off and then landing flat on the top, right? So that's just going to take practice, but you want to get that down, because when you start to pick up speed, if you get bucked like that, that's where you see a lot of Friday fails and people going over the bars because they're going super fast. They get in there, they lift up too early, or they don't push into the jump. Their suspension rebounds and they go, and by the time they're here, they're at an angle like this. You don't want that to happen. So you definitely got to make sure as you push down with your legs, you're pulling with your arms on the handlebars to come off at an angle like that. Okay, now that I landed on the top, I'm gonna go a little bit faster and land further here, probably front wheel a little bit on the landing, but rear wheel will still be up here on the top. Okay, so there, I was going a bit faster, and when you go faster, you have to do those steps quicker. Push into the transition, pull with your arms, and spring up. And you can see I didn't put a lot of effort into that, and I think, not 100% sure, but it felt like I landed way down here, right? So when you start getting to this point, you're ready to push it a little bit more and go for the landing. We're not gonna shoot for going super high yet. We're gonna shoot more for just making it to the landing. So let's do that. Okay, so that was quite a bit faster. I actually jumped the one before it and made the landing, which gave me plenty of speed to boost off of this one and land further down there. It's hard for me to know exactly where I landed, but it definitely felt like I was down here somewhere where the downside is. So a bike length and a half, and I wasn't going like super strong hard at it, because the key is how you take off on the launch. What's really important here is to gradually build up to this. Start off like I showed you, just focusing on landing both wheels at the same time on the top, really getting a feel for the lip, the transition, the takeoff, and just get comfortable with that. If you find yourself getting stiff or sideways or whatever, you're not comfortable. So you got to keep going until you feel it and get comfortable with it. So couple of things. If you want to get higher, then you need to push into the transition more with your legs, pulling with your arms, even more so off the transition. And a lot of times, the more you do that, you won't make the landing, because you're taking the energy and sending it up instead of that direction. So you might need to go a little faster. So I'll go ahead and do one where I really push in and try to go as high as I can. I am not a master at boosting these big airs. You see it all the time on the internet, and people just freaking boost way up there. I'm okay. I'm good at clearing jumps. I'm good at boosting a medium amount, but I'm definitely not one of these people that just woo, way the heck up there. But the reason those people can do that is they really know how to power off of the transition. And so if that's your goal, that's what you got to work on, is just really pushing in hard and just getting that boost off the transition. So I'll go ahead and give it my best shot. Let's do it. So clearly that's where I need the most work, is boosting higher off of jumps. So I do okay off of jumps, but I struggle getting that big boost. And I'm not quite sure why. I feel like I'm pushing down. Might be a timing issue. Who knows? But I'm going to continue working on it. And when I get that dialed and figured it out, then I will definitely do a video about it. But I definitely got higher. And I feel like I went further because I boosted and I wasn't even going any faster. So it just really is a thing that you practice and you get used to over time. And once you get comfortable with it, then you can start playing around with all different kind of jump sizes, steeper lips, mellower lips. This is a mellow lip, which makes it a little harder to boost off of because it doesn't have a long enough transition and a good enough kick to it. So a jump that was taller, right, and had more of a transition. So you don't want a transition that's this tall but sharper. That doesn't help. That just makes it more of a kicker that's going to throw you out of control. What you want, and those of you building jumps, if you work on mountain bike trails, this is essential to understand, is you just want something like this, make it taller and continue this transition on, and that'll naturally make it steeper, but it'll keep the same radius going, which is good for this size wheel and bike. Then when that happens, it's easier to boost higher off of jumps. So there you have it. Not really much else to it. The real answer to all of this is practice, 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 and watch other videos and other people, because not everybody's explanation will click in your head. Mine might. You might be, oh wow, Shad said something nobody else has ever said, or you're like going, I can't figure this out, and you go watch more videos, and then somebody tells you the thing you need to know to help you jump better. But my biggest thing that I want to stress here is start small, start small, start small. Don't just think you're gonna haul ass and go over a big jump without any experience, or with little experience, or you haven't done it in many years. In a case like me, or people like me that are older and maybe they stopped biking when they were younger and they're getting back into it, a lot of those guys think that they're still young. I'm just sweating. They're still young, and they just charge at stuff as if they were like 20 some years old. You don't want to do that. You want to, even if you used to ride, you still want to incrementally build your way back up to clearing jumps and being comfortable with it and stuff. There you have it. I appreciate your support for my channel.